And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick here with Isabelle Lee, taking you through to that closing bell. It's a global simulcast. We're joined now by Massar, and there's also Tim Stenovec. So we welcome our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms. Television, radio, our partnership with YouTube. Carol, these boxes pop up for our TV viewers. I never knew who's going to be on it. I mean, I'm here every day, but you two, I don't know.
You're not here every day.
I mean, I feel like one day Mike Bloomberg's just going to pop up on there.
I hope so. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be a fun conversation.
I would totally love that. Hey, we might get
What's
another.
What's he investing in right now?
I don't know. Let's ask him. You want? Come on, let's go.
No, I don't want to get in trouble.
All right. So S&P 500, we are looking at. Well, we're right now below 7,800. We were thinking we could see our first close on the S&P above 7,800. We'll see if we get there. But right now, it's still going to be a record, right?
Yes, Carol Massar.
Well, hey, come on.
I'm just seeing if you're, awake over there.
We got a minute to go. We got a minute to go, Isabelle. You know, I should note we're not even halfway through the month. We're already up over 4% on the S&P 500
for this month.
For this month alone.
Yeah. Well, we're only halfway through the month, or barely through it, as you say.
Sounds so bored. Come on,
care?
Isabelle, help us out here.
Yeah, Isabelle, help me out here.
We got data this morning again, and it showed inflation moderating, and I feel like investors are breathing a sign of relief, but we still have one more to monitor before the Fed meeting, so we can't be too complacent, I would say.
All right. Well, we did get those two benign inflation reports, and at least for right now, that combined with earnings, giving investors a little bit of a window to move a little bit forward here with this bull market, a bull market that continues apace, a bull market that, at least for the broad market, is going to end the day at a record high. The S&P 500 looks like it's going to close right around that 7,800 level. It takes a while for these numbers to settle, but it looks like it'll be a tick or two below that. Doesn't matter. That's still a record high, up 50 points or 0.7% on the day. The Dow adding about 70 points or about 0.1% on the day. The Nasdaq Composite up about 0.8%. The Nasdaq 100 up about 1%, and the Russell 2000. Just double check this. I believe it is a record high for the Russell 2000 as well, adding about 0.2% here on the day.
Wait, do you know? Are you confirming it?
I'm 100% telling you the Russell 2000, Carol Massar,
I'm just checking.
Closed at a record high.
You got this incredible machine in front of you that tells you everything. All right, let's go to the S&P. All right, so Russell at a record. You've got the S&P at a record. I'm going to go back to the S&P 500 because you did have most names higher, Isabelle, in today's session, about 319 to the upside, 183 lower this Thursday, and you had one unchanged.
Let's take a look at the IMAP, Carol. So it's mostly green on the screen. Biggest gainers, of course, tech higher by nearly 1.5%. Communication services also in the green by 0.4%. You see some peppers of red there. I guess I'm wearing red. Energy is down 0.2%, and materials also lower by 1.5%.
All right, well, speaking of materials, let's take a look at Applied Materials, the maker of equipment to make semiconductors, out with its fiscal third quarter report. Sales, at least for its semiconductor business, did beat estimates at about $7 billion. Net sales, the total amount of sales for the company as a whole, 9.21 in the quarter. That's a slight beat over the average of street estimates. They were looking for about $9 billion. EPS in the quarter, a slight beat, $3.50. The street was looking for $3.42. But I can tell you right now, we need to dive a little bit deeper because what everyone wants to know is what that fiscal fourth quarter forecast looks like, whether this phenomenal growth we've seen for this company can actually continue.
Well, I will say Gary Dickerson, the company's president and CEO, says that he's further raising our semiconductor systems revenue expectations for calendar 2026. They're confident that they'll grow faster than the market this year based on the increased demand visibility we are receiving from our customers. We expect another strong growth year for Applied Materials in 2027.
All right, so I'm not quite sure. Forgive me, Romaine, if you already said this, but AMAT does see fourth quarter net sales of $9.75 billion to $10.75 billion. This gets to Outlook. The estimate on the street is $9.62 billion. Interesting to see the stock. It is down about 4.6% in the aftermarket. Keep in mind, it's up more than 100% year to date, Isabelle. So it's just a little bit of perspective, but we'll look for some more headlines here to cross.
I think it's, again, expectation versus reality, and maybe investors are just expecting more and more. You have the CFO saying that this is the 13th consecutive quarter of year-over-year gross margin expansion. So that is a lot. That's 13.
I just want to go back to that number, though, because that fourth quarter number, and I think you kind of understand the idea here also is everyone's looking at that percentage growth number and whether that's actually coming down. And it does appear, I need to do the math, but when you look at that range of 9.75 to 10.75, and this idea here of a company that had been enjoying some pretty healthy healthy double-digit growth, and the idea that that's always going to be hard to sustain into the new fiscal year. If this is the fourth quarter number, I guess my big question is, what does the number for the full year up ahead actually start to look like? That's not in the release. I'm sure they'll be asked about it on the conference call.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, the stock not as low as it was, pairing some of the earlier loss, but still down about 2 1/3%, almost 3% here. So, yep, a lot of questions here.
There's also going to be questions, I think, too, about CapEx and what the company's going to spend on investing. The company's Senior Vice President and CFO, Bryce Hill, saying that they're making additional manufacturing capacity investments to support projected demand through the end of the decade. So that's up through the end of the next few years, right? More than 3 years out. They're saying continued strong revenue growth in the second half of the calendar year, particularly in DRAM, as well as leading edge foundry logic and advanced packaging.
All right, so we're going to keep an eye on this. Look for a little bit more in terms of headlines and obviously the analyst call. But again, the stock we've seen a little bit under pressure. Hey, I'm going to go to some of the gainers in today's session. Here's one group: SanDisk, Western Digital, Micron, Seagate Technology. These were top in the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100. SanDisk alone was up 13.7%. You've got Western Digital up more than 7%. You've got Micron up more than 4%, and Seagate Technology up almost 5%. You did have SanDisk come out, the computer hardware and storage company jumping to a session high, might even be a close high, but I have to check on that, after it announced its financial model for the years 2028 through 2030 at its 2026 Investor Day. SanDisk targeting the following as part of its outlook: revenue growth in the mid to high teens during that period, sees non-GAAP gross margins at about 80%, targets non-GAAP operating margin of about 75%. It goes on and on, but nonetheless, the whole sector we saw higher. I got to mention Workday as well. Shares jumping intraday high of about 30% after a Reuters report that private equity firm Silver Lake is in talks to purchase the software provider. So again, we saw this one moving dramatically. And then I'm just going to throw in Birkenstocks, just something different, rallying after the footwear maker boosted its adjusted EBITDA forecast for the full year. And so we did see that one also up just shy of 12% in today's session.
Okay, let's go to some of the decliners on the day today. Cisco Systems shares down 8.4%. The biggest decline going back to earlier this year. Ticker CSCO. This after the company projected $7.5 billion in AI data center sales this fiscal year. That disappointed investors. We talked to Woo Jin Ho from Bloomberg Intelligence a little earlier. He said for him, he didn't think it was the AI data center sales outlook. He said it was more weakness in the company's product, in the product gross margin. But nonetheless, Cisco shares did fall today by 8.4%. I also want to talk a little about Hertz. Hertz shares just getting crushed today, down more than 16%. This after Pershing Square's chief investment officer said the firm has sold its stake in Hertz. Pershing lost confidence in Hertz's management after the firm announced a funding plan that, quote, we did not think was necessary. This is Ryan Israel over at Pershing Square saying that. The stock drop snaps a run-up for the last six sessions after Wednesday's close. Hertz's stocks has seen some wild swings over the course of 2026. So some movement there, down 16%. And finally, let's talk ticketing and StubHub. StubHub shares falling after the company said earnings per share for the second quarter missed the average analyst estimate. The challenge here, Romaine, was with the World Cup. The company's forecast for the full year underwhelmed, but I guess they had a lot of ticketing challenges for the World Cup, and people weren't able to get access to tickets that they somehow bought months in advance. And StubHub says it was an issue with FIFA, and now there are a lot of customers complaining about this.
Yeah, I remember seeing all that online. I mean, who's to blame? Who knows? But obviously StubHub taking the blame, at least based on the reaction in the shares today. A quick look at yields. They are down across the board here, down about 4 basis points on the long end, 5 basis points on the short end. That benign PPI report following a benign CPI report, giving investors a little bit of hope here for a bit more of a bond rally. But keep in mind, we also had that 30-year auction today where the Treasury had to pay up its highest yield on a 30-year auction since 2001.
And I just want to clarify, SanDisk not at a record high. That was back on June 25th when it was more than $22,335. I know. I knew you would come at me if I didn't mention something.
Yeah, I was going to correct you later.
I do like to get, as you like to do. Hey, here's a story that's on our radar. It's among the most read on the Bloomberg terminal. Manhattan rents hitting $5,000. That is a record, while listings all but vanish. What was the story yesterday? Was it people paying $4,000 to get a peek on listings?
Because of the broker fee issues, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's so competitive out there. It comes against, I mean, this is the way it works, Isabelle. It's supply and demand, right? So a drop of supply, listing inventory in Manhattan plunged more than 39% year over year in July. Inventory in Brooklyn fell by 27% compared to last year. It is expensive out there.
I have a lot of thoughts. We moved to Brooklyn and then
Welcome.
Brooklyn.
We are happy to have
I'm
you.
a Brooklyn girly now. So we were looking at an apartment and then we offered $100 above asking and we were beat by someone who offered $700 asking. So,
$100.
yes, but we were beat by someone $700 a month, Romaine.
Per month,
That's not,
Romaine.
Yes, per month, Romaine.
Okay.
Maybe you and I are in a different tax bracket.
No comment.
Yeah, maybe that pied-à-terre tax is going to bother you.
Yeah, are we going to talk about that?
That's
Can we
for
talk about
Romaine.
something I can relate to? What is this
I
pied-à-terre
know.
tax thing? Apparently it's back on.
Yeah, well, an appellate
What's the
court-
mayor
yeah.
doing? Come on.
Yeah, appeals court said it's on, so.
All right.
Yeah, get your checkbook out, Romaine.
Well, no, actually, I'm putting it away. Yeah, I had to write a check the other day for like the first time. I was like looking through the last time I actually wrote a paper check.
Oh.
Who are these people?
Okay, we got to run.
Like
We have
fintech
something
folks.
That's
important to
fun.
do on this side.
Tokenization, something.
Why not? Put it in the blockchain.
I got
All
a
right,
cramp just right.
thank you very much.